Arganissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today. Arganissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty.
Folks, welcome back to the iHealth channel, iHealth Radio, with your host, Hurricane H. New day, new show. Awesome topic. We're still in the wellness and really consciousness about wellness, theme. I mean, I think it's been, I don't know how it happens, but I don't plan it this way, but it just seems that some shows are just aligned in the same topic or theme. I have no idea how it works because these are set in advance, but it works for me. And it's just almost like an awareness week. But today, we're going to talk about something that's important to ourselves. And with me, I have Rachel Lavin. She's a published author. Her book, interestingly, The Doughnut Diaries. Now, we got to talk about that. That's a big one. I mean, donuts, hey? We're the health channel, but hey, there's more to this, than meets the eye here. So she's a professional speaker. She's a body love educator. And that's the biggest part that we're going to talk about today is how to love yourself for who you are. And if you're having a difficulty with it, or you haven't been able to just manage that part, I mean, because it is sometimes difficult with all the peer pressures and everything that's going on in the world. That could be difficult, but today we have the expert. She's also a certified personal trainer, a certified health coach. So she's a lot. And so Rachel, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is going to be a good conversation. I already feel it.
Oh, it will be. I enjoy this stuff. I know you're passionate about it. And my passion is just, I want people to feel good and be good and just live a happier, healthier life. And that's really, the main purpose of what we do. At least that's that's my purpose here. But I know that that's aligned with yours. Now, before we get into the book, you really have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your journey that got you into the book. Because I know the book is not fairly new, right? It's been around.
It's about 2 years old now. Okay, it's been October 2021.
Okay. Well, so let's take us, from before how you got into this whole world. And I know you have a story behind, the whole thing. So let's guide our audiences to it so they get closer to your passion.
Okay. Well, I have always wanted to help people. I've always loved movement. I was an ice skater, a dancer. I was always moving. And I knew sitting in an office was not for me. And so I had to figure out what could I do that encompassed all my passions. And I decided that I was doing Jazzercise with my mom at the time. I became an instructor. So I was teaching classes. That evolved into wanting more. So then I got a group X cert, started teaching all kinds of classes. I wanted more. So that turned into a personal training cert. And I've been doing all of this for over 20 years. And now, like you said, I've added author to my resume.
Well, that's a lot. And I love what you said about movement. I don't think as humans we're meant to just be sitting down. I mean, I don't think that's how we're designed. We're designed to be really active and working and moving. But unfortunately, it seems that the workplace and the work world and how we're supposed to do has been more of that. And a lot of times people don't have at least they don't have the perception of time. They do have the time. That's a whole discussion. But they find themselves caught into office space and things like that, and maybe tired. They go home, they're on the couch, relaxing, whatever. And then the weekends, they might do a couple of things, but it's not enough. And so movement is important to living healthier and better. But you chose the route of exercise and teaching people and doing classes and really helping. By the way, I do have a Fit and Fab, channel, and this will air there as well. And really, it's all about fitness and wellness, and just getting people, into the modalities of just movement. And we talk about that in the channel. So today it's really health, wellness, fitness. It's all going to be there. But that's important because, to stay healthy, there's a lot more than just, it's not, most people think I got to get diet. And we're going to talk about that. I think that's a core discussion in the book. But then there is the other stuff, which is what you just mentioned, the movement, the fitness, the action, the taking, you got to be busy with your body. You got to do things with your body. It's, if you settle down, it's an issue. Now, then there's the weight loss, the weight problem. Sometimes when you sit for long days and for long years and you just work around the computer, and a lot of today's world is around the desk, even though they have all these new, stand-up desks that you can kind of stand with, it's okay, but it's not really that movement, that you want. And it's not enough to actually burn, your calories and get your metabolism kicking and things like that. So there's a lot of, components to this discussion. So you did that for 20 years. I'm sure you've changed a lot of lives. and that's got to feel good, right? That that you've helped many people stay healthy, sometimes even get them to recuperate after, whatever, they went through. It's also good for your brain, and your mind, and, your stress control and all that stuff. So it's a lot of stuff that we do when we talk fitness and wellness. I mean, it's not just, like I said, just about the food and the diets. But now let's break down, the component of the book. You went the Doughnut Diaries. Why specifically? I mean, I love it. It's a catchy title. I mean, but there's got to be a reason for that particular title. I mean, donuts is really something that people crave. Unfortunately, it's part of today's, culture, at least in the States. It's pretty common that people get a donut here and there, whatever. But this is beyond that. So what drove that title?
Well, I have always had just fond memories of donuts. It was something that I did with my uncle, and it was something that was a treat. And there's no shame or no, bad connotation to it. And as you grew up to be an adult and you learned, I got to restrict. And of course, donuts are foods that end up on the no list. And so and I loved them. I really did. But I just felt like it was something I could never have again. And when I decided that I was no longer going to restrict food in general, I wanted to have a healthy relationship with all foods. A donut was the first thing that I allowed myself to have coming out of restriction. And the only difference is that I took time to sit, to enjoy, to savor. I didn't rush the process. I didn't shovel it in my mouth. I just enjoyed it. And then I went on about my day. And I realized right then and there that I had been torturing myself mentally for so long with all kinds of foods.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. Well, so there's a lot of schools of thoughts about, food and diet and stuff. And, you have some strict folks that are like, diet is this. And I've had plenty of shows about that. But then you have also the I guess, the logic that you can have cheat days. You can maybe get things that are, that you crave because you live once, right? You don't want to deprive yourself. So there is that school of thought too, so there is a little bit of all extremes, in all levels. And so I like what you said, like when I stopped the restrictions, because that's what it is. I mean, when you really want to be like fully into it, I mean, you do cut a lot of things. And sometimes, you just can't help it. Things are around you and you get those cravings, and out of sight and of mind. If you were in a place where there's none, you probably wouldn't think about it. But you're probably going to, I don't know. But I mean, if you can't get them, I mean, you might think about them, but you're not going to be excited about them because they're not available. But when they're around you, that may be a challenge, right? But we can't escape them these days. Doesn't matter where you are, actually. But I've been all around the world and they have them. And that's just the donuts, but sweets and anything else, right? So let's talk about, by the way, thank you for breaking down. I mean, it's fun, the idea that, first thing I had to have is one donut, and you know what? It's okay. but your real passion is to keep people in their own way, enjoying their life and love themselves while balancing different things. And so, it's not just restrict life, everything is like, extremely don't do. You can do things and feel good in your skin technically, right? And I think that's a big, component, because a lot of people, they look at the mirror or they hear something from someone. And, there's also the pressures. I mean, I know historically, for example, the modeling world is all about a certain look. And so you got that whole perception of Barbie and Ken concept. That's, the movie is actually, I think, coming out or something now. But that's really that's been the concept of like how you should look, right? And that caused a lot of pressure on people. I mean, unfortunately. And then you have the bullying, you have all these things. So it's a lot of things that we're feeding ourselves into. Now, listen, there's nothing wrong if you want to be chiseled and fit and all stuff. That's okay. Go at it. But sometimes, if that's not what you want to be or who you want to be, is there room for that? And I think your work is to keep people aligned with that. I want to look good, but I want to look the way I want to look good, and I feel good in my way. Am I getting that right so far?
Yes, for the most part. I think that. Well, I don't want to cut you off. I don't want to go in a different direction that you're trying to take this conversation. But yes, I think that for some people, it's greater than that. I think the emotional pressure and the mental pressure women put on themselves to have this kind of body it ties into mental health too. It ties into I'm not enough. It ties into I can't have relationships with other people because I don't have the body that I should have. And that's where I really try to kind of get in with, you can have all the things you want and still accept the body that you have. And I think that so many people just don't connect the dots.
Oh, no, thank you. Well, by the way, it's the right direction. The idea is exactly that. It's not what body I should have, it's just the body I want. Two different things. And, because should means somebody else is dictating how you should look. And, for the most part, no one likes that. I mean, I don't think anyone watching and listening, you want people to tell you what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and how to look, but unfortunately, it's been, through the movies, through everything, we're being bombarded on a regular, basis for years. There is a certain way to behave, there's a certain way to dress, there's a certain way to look, there's a certain way to eat. And, and there's different, push, like there's a push on one side, there's a push on the other side, depends on who's marketing to us, it keeps that. But you're right. What it does, it has an implication and a direct impact on our brain and our mental status. And that's really the problem. The mental state is the most important part, because if you are not there correctly and not feeling good, everything else is not going to operate. Because again, the mind is powerful. And I love your concept that you are combining mind, body together. And by the way, I don't think there is, you cannot be disconnected. I don't think anyone can disagree that those two have to, coexist correctly. And we have to have a nice and, synchrony and synergy between the top and the physical. And so that's really what it is. But you're right. The idea is that we want to be who we want to be, to look how we want, regardless of the pressures. Now, again, you can have a full spectrum of pick whatever you want. I mean, just like you go to a clothing store and you have a lot of different choices, pick whatever you want. Similarly, if I like to look this way, then that's fine. And I think the problem is and by the way, I mean, it's no secret. In different shows, we talked about diets, we talk about stuff, weight loss and things like that. And there is a health component to weight, but there is also a balance that can happen. I personally, for example, I do my cheat days, and, there's no big deal about it. Sometimes I gain a couple of pounds, sometimes I go, excited about them and drop them, but I still feel, who I am. I don't care. I mean, I don't hide myself. If I gain a little bit of fluff, that's okay. If I lose some, I'm happy as well. So that's how I feel. And you get to a point where you don't care anymore about what people think. But you have to be really in good terms with yourself. Because I think that's the big point, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So in your experience, what are some of the core elements that drive people to sometimes, maybe besides the things that I just enumerated, like that really push people into the abyss and just think that they just can't anymore, or they just kind of lose it?
That they can't continue like dieting and stuff?
Well, not that they can't really, be happy about who they are.
Oh, okay. I think that anybody who is under the age of 100 has had some kind of diet, some kind of body image, some kind of food thing at some point in their life. And I think that it has been around, and some of us just like literally come out of the womb already thinking, okay, diet starts on Monday. Like I can't eat that. I got to do all this. And it's unfortunately in our society, in our country, it's surpassed above all. Like, are you a nice person? Are you a kind person? Do you have good relationships? Like, none of that matters. It's like, do you have big biceps? Do you have a flat stomach? Do you have big boobs? Like, I can't believe that I spent like 40 years of my life like thinking like that. And now that I'm kind of free of that, it boggles my mind that we have to contend with that over social media, contend with that with each other. It's too much. And I think that if we just could all take a collective breath and just realize that there's so much more importance to our life and then what our pant size is. And that's what I'm really trying to get my message out there, that do you want to be happy or do you want to do this? You can do whatever you want. Like you said, you can do whatever you want. You have that choice. But do you want to be truly happy? Then you have to kind of look at life in the sense of, I'm not in this by myself. I'm not doing this life by myself. And to treat yourself with kindness is the ultimate gift, in my opinion.
It is. And I love what you said about like, there's more, like nice and so on and happiness and stuff. It doesn't have to be completely attached to the way you look or the way, you are perceived to be. That's the problem, I think, because again, it's almost pressure. I mean, we call peer pressure, but it's really pressures from anything. And you're right. Like you said, 40 years, that you've been living in that particular mentality of this is how you're supposed to conform. But does it really have to be that way? Really? And I think that's a big question. And I think I love where you went from there is that that's not the idea. You can feel whatever you want, be whoever you want to be, and still live a happy and be. At the end of the day, that's the whole thing. If you can be happy, right? Mm-hmm. That's all that matters. I mean, happiness, I think if there is an ultimate goal in life, is happiness. Because even money is not really bringing happiness. It could be a tool, but it's not happiness. You can have all the money in the world and not be happy. But you can be healthy and still not happy. I mean, happiness is a state that you have to achieve, and it only happens if you're, very confident, very pleased wherever you are, whoever you are. It could be more, it could be less. It doesn't matter. You don't have to subscribe to like what a definition of how to look. Whether you're handsome, pretty, you have weight, you don't have weight, all that stuff. As long as you're comfortable, you're again in your skin. That's all that matters. And I think when you get to that level, you're beyond everybody. But it's a hard status to actually achieve because again, you're not alone in this world. I mean, and constantly you're going to hear it, or you're going to have people look, or you have, and then you're like, am I doing, then you have also, obviously you have to look at the health piece of it, and you still got to stay healthy. Now let's talk about that. You help people really enjoy themselves, basically get themselves to believe and love who they are. But you do help them throughout the other aspects, because you can't have it without making sure that they have the other fulfillments. So what I know, I've read something where I believe you do a whole thing about nourishment, so that the mind and the body, as well as that movement and rest. So there is a component of exercise. There is a component of nourishment, which means basically eating a certain way, and then definitely rest. So these three things have to always happen. And by the way, they're the same theme. The same theme that I hear all the time, even when we talk diet and nutrition and fitness, these things continuously happen. Even when we talk mental health, these things have to happen. You have to have the right nutrition or nourishment. You have to have the movement, and you have to have the proper rest. So how do you work all that, for our audiences, like, the people that you work with?
Well, I think you said it earlier in the conversation. It's like we as human beings were designed to move. That is absolutely the truth. I mean, that's why we have arms and legs and fingers and, you know, how else are you going to grab the donuts from the cupboard, right? You have to be able to lift your arm up. So why not treat your body, your vessel, your packaging, whatever you want to refer it to, the best way possible. And now, even as I'm aging, I'm realizing like I want to have a good latter part of my life. Longevity is a word that we're hearing all over the place. But if you can take care of your body, the younger you are, then when you age, you're going to be able to be self-sufficient. You're going to be able not to be confined somewhere. You're going to have your independence. All that stuff is important. But again, it's all connected, right? Our mind, body, all of that. So you have to keep your body strong. You have to keep your mind strong. And you have to eat food every single day. So I always say, let it be something that you do instead of something that you have to do. If you can change your mindset to have a healthy relationship with food, then I mean, I almost want to say, I promise you're going to be happy, but I can't do that. But I know that that's what worked for me. The minute I changed my relationship with food, my relationship with food changed forever.
So let's describe that to our audiences, changing. I mean, because everybody's going to be like, well, what does that mean to me? I mean, some people eat less, some people eat more, some people, now that introduces diet, some level of diet. Now, I'm getting that diet is not really your thing, right? You make sure that people have whatever they want to eat to a degree. Am I getting that?
Well, let me just quickly. So diet, the word diet actually means what you eat on a daily basis. It consists of all food and drink. Fad diets is what you and I are talking about right now. Any kind of elimination diet or fad diet or restrictive diet. So that's what I always like to clarify, because technically the word diet just means what you eat and drink every day.
Love it.
But what I am trying to get people to understand is because we have all lost the ability to trust our bodies. And our bodies give us plenty of signals regarding food, hunger signals. If you eat something, because we all are made differently. And I love to use the example that there's two things you can if you don't like something and you're forcing yourself to eat it, ask yourself why. You know what I mean? There are so many other foods out there that are yummy and delicious and do the same thing. And the second thing is that if you do eat something and your body responds in a negative sense, could be anything from a stomach ache, it could be, bloating, it could be all kinds of things, then maybe that food isn't best for you. And the sooner you get in tune with your body, the sooner you trust your body, and the sooner you kind of understand which foods work best for your body, you're good.
Actually, I think this is the first time when someone really clarified. When we refer to diet, it's almost being implied that we're talking about restrictive stuff. Yeah, you're right. It's really what you eat on a day-to-day basis. The question is it going to be something that you're going to enjoy and something that's going to be nutritious, to your body, or something that may affect you? And to your point, if it's not working, I love what you said. Why? And but sometimes people, they eat because of habit. Sometimes they eat because of pressure, and they have people they just happen to eat. Sometimes they binge eat because they're stressed. We've had the pandemic. I mean, it was a tough, time for people. They were home, and when you're just home sitting, you have the tendency to watch something and just crunch on something, and that was another one. So you have all these things. The problem is, where do you find that balance?
Right.
And I think that's really what it is, because sometimes you can overdo it, then have bad results, and then you're like talking about the body love, and then you might feel like, well, what did I do, right? You want to be in a place where I am confident that this is what I want, and I'm okay with the results. Mm-hmm. Do you find that's actually the key point, where you work with somebody, to educate them about to love themselves, or to love their body, rather?
Yes, I definitely have to meet my clients where they're at, mentally, physically, emotionally. And I work with a lot of women who are my age. So, 40, 50, 60s, and they still feel this way about their body. So that is something that takes everybody a little longer, especially if you've treated yourself this way for a long time. So it's important to kind of tell your listeners, this isn't a one size fit all. It's not a light switch. I can't just say, well, here's how I did it. It's going to work for you too. Because I'm not trying to sell you that. I'm just trying to let you know that I lived for 40 years in a body that I hated, that a body that I felt betrayed every day for 40 years. And when I decided that I wanted to be happy, I had to do a lot of work, like a lot of soul searching, a lot of therapy, a lot of things that I was this person and I don't want to be this person anymore, but how do I get there? And I really want to make sure that I am being as honest as possible when I tell you that it is something that is going to be a different journey for everybody. But I think when you decide something, I think we're, as humans, we decide I want to do it and we don't let anything get in our way. And I think that's when the real change happens.
So Rachel, thank you. The question is, what is that form that someone's looking for, right? I mean, I think everybody should ask that question. Like, what do I feel good about? I mean, to your point, you said 40 years of a body that you felt that was not the right thing for you. That's not how you wanted to be, but you were somehow, and you decided to stop that, and you decided what that formula looks like for you, and it's working for you. But like for everybody, they should have a moment and really just ask themselves, am I comfortable? Is this what I want? Am I doing it to please other people, or just, for me? Because to be honest with you, you're right. It's not about the other folks. It's about you. Mm-hmm. You gotta live happy. You have to have, the right, I love what you said about you have to have the health, live a longevity. You have to, the long term in a healthier way, as opposed to like having all the issues. So you had to balance it out. But at the end of the day, if you're not pleased, with who you are, and I'm talking about mentally and physically, then that's a problem, because then that's going to affect you, and then everything else becomes a problem. And that's when you either go one extreme or the other, and then that becomes bad for you as well. I mean, really, like, it's amazing. No matter what topic we can discuss, you'll find that anything in moderation and being in the middle is always the right way. Because no matter where you go, if you go one way, it's bad. If you go the other way, it's bad. When you get in the middle of the ground, middle ground's concept, you always are better. But that changes for one person. I love what you said. You can possibly tell them it's going to work, but we obviously cannot guarantee anything for anyone, because it depends whether they they adhere to whatever formula you're going to give them or not. Everybody does it differently. But if you give them enough ingredients and enough steps, they should be able to get there. Now, let me ask you a question, Rachel. The book, is the book a guide in a way, or just a story about how you did it?
No, it's just my story. Yeah. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just another workout plan or another diet plan, it is in the self-help genre, but I didn't want you to feel like I was telling you what to do. I just wanted to share my story and convey that you were not alone.
And by the way, I love that, because it is not to pressure people, is to give them just an example of what it looks like if you were to do this. This could be it. And there's nothing better than, as you and I, we had that discussion about books, and those are legacies, and those things can stay forever, and they can change somebody's life. Sometimes you just need to say, like, I'm not the only one, mm-hmm. And I think that's the other thing. Some people think that they're alone. There's no other pieces, or they just, well, maybe this is not my route, but I can't find another one that actually kind of matches where I want to be. But when they read something such as your book, they'll be more like, oh, I can vibe with this. This is good. And that's when it makes a difference, and people can change. Now, you are currently a certified personal trainer still. Do you do any of that today?
I do a handful of my New York clients virtually, but I have not actively sought out doing it here, just because I really am trying to kick this book thing off the ground and really putting all my effort in that.
Okay. And you also do the health coaching currently. I love it. That's a good one. All right. And again, I mean, it's just, the reason I'm asking is that some people may just say, hey, maybe I can use your services and maybe have you as a guide to help me. Because I mean, a lot of people are sometimes really in need of someone to be there for them. And, when you hear that somebody can really give me some good advice, they'll be more than happy to join, right, the discussion and potentially reach out. So thank you for that. Now, body love. You're an educator for that. So beyond the book, how do you, if someone is with you working right now, what would be the steps you would go with them, to help them kind of really fall in love again with who they are?
Well, I definitely am there to support, to guide, to share, but this is a partnership. Like, I cannot do the work for you. And I know that so many women, when they kind of hire a trainer or hire a coach, they're literally at their wit's end because they feel like they've already done it all. But I think the one thing that they skip over, and we talked about this a little earlier, is you have to deal with that emotional trauma. Like, you don't feel this way about yourself for no reason. It's years and years and years of experiences, or one experience that really affected you. I hear women all the time say, when I was 7 years old, someone told me I had big legs. And so now I do 8,000 squats a day because I don't want to have big legs. I mean, just that one thing that someone can say to you about your body that will screw you up for your whole life until you make that choice. I'm not going to believe that anymore. I'm going to believe that my legs are perfect and that I'm exercising because I want to feel good, I want to be strong, and I want to be healthy, not because I'm trying to change the way I look.
Rachel, that's a big deal, right? I mean, I think everyone, I mean, I can say it myself. I've been told things, since you're a kid, there's always someone that's gonna like find something that they're gonna. There's no such thing as perfect, right? They're gonna find something even just for fun, and they're gonna say it. Now, sometimes you might pay no mind to it, but sometimes it may deeply affect you. And, it gets into your subconscious and it stays with you. And you're right. You might react to it without even knowing that you're reacting. As a matter of fact, I did a show about the subconscious. And I mean, a lot of that stuff is really what makes who we are. And, we get all that, programming in the back end, and it's affecting how we behave, how we do things. And sometimes we go crazy because we have been almost programmed to or reacting to a program that we did not feel good about. And someone can tell you something in your childhood, or anytime you're going to go to work, you're going to the store, someone makes a comment, and it can affect you. It is amazing. And so Rachel, what would you say to someone watching right now, listen, as a good advice not to do when someone tells you something?
I love to tell people to create almost like a force field around themselves. That negativity is just our way of communicating with people, unfortunately. And the more that we can turn that around and send kindness into the world, but have strong boundaries. Like, if someone were to say something about my body now, I have the language to say, my body is none of your business, or my body is not up for discussion. And I also believe that, we have to have our crew, right? We have to have people we trust. We have to have, or a therapist that we can trust and talk to and get it out. I mean, the longer we keep that kind of stuff inside, like you said, that's when we build our belief systems on something someone else said, someone that probably doesn't even know me. And so I think that if we have not only a strong foundation of loving ourselves, trusting ourselves, but also a strong foundation, whether it be family or friends or, professional, I think that we can let that stuff go. It is so important to just let it go. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I mean, I love what you said about that force field. It doesn't go through it. You have to get to a point where I don't care what you say. It's not phasing me. You can throw it just like poof. It's like, we're Star Wars movie, right? It bounces off, it bounces back off. And really, but it takes a level of real passion about yourself, belief about yourself, confidence. And also I love what you said about having that entourage, the system, and be able to reject those. Don't take it from people. A lot of people will take negativity from others without, giving back. And that have impact because it stays with you, like, it irks you, like, God damn, I should have said something, right? And then it goes a long time. And sometimes it just lingers in the back, and then you might react the wrong way some other time. So the idea if someone comes to you is like, I love what you said. My body is none of your business. I love who I am. You're not making a difference. Just go on, move on. And if you get to that point, you can change things. And people watching and listening, I mean, doesn't matter how you look. It doesn't matter what you feel about yourself. There's someone that's going to just not, really see you for who you think you see yourself. And then they're going to throw in something at you that you probably, if you're not prepared, is going to affect you. So be prepared that, what, if you look at yourself in the mirror, it's like, I like what I see. That's all that matters. That's it. Not for other, but, for people to look at you like, say, he, she, he does, she does. No, it's about you. And I think if you get to that point, you're done. I mean, you really have it to the science of like, I am who I am, and you're none of your business. It's not fun. Like when you can get to the point where it's like, like, in the Brooklyn, when we do that, go away, yeah, forget about it. That kind of concept. That's the whole idea, right? You can get to people and tell them off, that's a sweet place because you're like ahead of the game. But when you feel that you just have to accept, whatever is coming your way and just absorb it because you don't have the comeback or you don't have the confidence to stand to it. I mean, again, like bullying. I mean, in bullying, that is a type of bullying, by the way, when someone comes to you and tell you something like, who do you think you are? To tell me how I feel about myself and how I should look. Just look at yourself in the mirror first. I mean, that's the thing. People tend to look at others, but not like themselves. They look physically and mentally.
Oh, sorry. That's what I was going to say. A lot of that comes from self-projection. Like they obviously are just projecting their beliefs onto you. And, you really have to kind of create a mental toughness about yourself, especially in this day and age. Like I can't even watch the news anymore because just the violence that people are putting on each other, whether it be verbally or physically, I cannot believe that that's where we're at.
It is sad, unfortunately. And you're right. I don't know. We live in a time that is, I mean, it's always existed, but I think somehow we're just, people are suffering. I think that's what it is. I mean, there's so much stuff going on in this world that just, I don't know if it's in the food, if it's in the air, or it's just the stress and the environment and all the stuff that we'll be enduring. People are just they don't know how to handle it. And some people, they just try to cope with it anyway. And sometimes it comes out the wrong way. And to your point, they project whatever their weaknesses into others because it makes them feel good. It gives them a little sense like, I got this, I'm stronger. But that's just a false sense of strength because you don't have to do that to actually know that you're strong or not, and you have to look at, would you want to be treated that way? See, that's the other part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people who have any kind of self-awareness or consciousness, I mean, hurt people, right? And I think that if you, and I'm going to say it again, I have just seen from being an angry person, from just being a completely miserable person, to being happy and to being kind and to wanting good things for other people, my world has changed. The kind of energy that comes at me is very similar to what I put out. And I know some people think that that's weird or they don't believe in it, but I've seen it firsthand. I mean, I was such a nasty person. Like I can't even convey, like, I just was always so angry and felt like the world was out to get me and that I just wasn't happy. And when I changed my mindset and changed my life and changed who I was, if I said that to somebody, they'd be like, there's no way. It's like, yeah.
No, so Rachel, let me ask you a question. I mean, the people that knew you, like the family members and maybe like your immediate family, I mean, I'm sure they've observed this sudden change in you. How was their reaction? Like, can you bring back a Rachel, or they just love the new Rachel?
I didn't really give anybody a choice. Okay. This is who I am. This is what I've gone through. This is how I'm choosing to live the rest of my life. You can either stay in my life or you can beat it. Like, I really was not going to let that pressure of what other people's expectations of me affect what I was doing for myself. I didn't I mean, other than a few people who were, colleagues or friends or whatever, probably have no idea that I've become this person, and that's fine. But I don't think anyone really objected to it or distanced themselves from me. I mean, would you?
Oh, but you said you were, not very, happy, and you were, stressed and all this stuff, but you became a different person. So your energy now is better. Your energy is positive. And I think so. From the real in question is really, you're probably now more, what do you call it, attractive to these folks, because you're projecting so much positivity. Like, oh, we want to be around you, Rachel. Now you're for lack of better words, you said you were nasty. Now you're a better person. So they just kind of like gravitate towards you more than ever. Maybe before it was like, I don't want to deal with Rachel, but now they want Rachel in their circle.
Yeah, that's true.
But see that, but that's a big deal. I mean, because you're talking about energy projection. I mean, we're talking right now in the show, and we're not in the same room, but there is some level of energy. But imagine, when you're with someone that has so much positivity, you cannot not feel it. I mean, I go when I sit with people, it's amazing. Like, you can sit with someone, and in the first minute you feel like, oh my God, this is not going to be a good time. And then you sit with someone for 2 seconds, like, wow, this is it. I mean, there's just a level of energy that projects that you just kind of feel the vibe immediately. And that's actually a big difference. That's really where people thrive. And you gotta almost realm yourself around the same energy at all times. And when you said the entourage, the whole people that are around you, they don't subscribe to your world. They're not in your world. And I think that's just, and by the way, this works for everybody. If your world, you want to stay in the negative world, that's okay too. You have a freedom to do that, but just, you're going to find yourself in that same vibe, and that's all there is. And you're not going to be happy. And by the way, someone can probably argue with me like, well, I'm happy the way I am. You probably are. But here's the fact, if you talk psychiatry, you cannot, the happiness is happiness. You can't say that it's happiness when it's not. You know what I'm saying? You can, positivity is positivity. You can't say I'm positive when you're not. And so there are certain things, those are realities. And so we have to just be clear about that. If you want to be miserable and you want to be not happy, no one's going to stop you, folks, right? And that's okay too. I mean, it is a choice. But you will suffer more, you will have more difficulty, and you'll find yourself alienated sometimes, and people are always looking at you the wrong way and giving you the lip. But if you project positivity, there's nothing they can do. They're just going to be like, they embrace you faster. And so you'll find yourself, and by the way, even if I'm an only child,
Me too.
I can, oh, there we go. Hey, I could literally, just be alone for days, and it's not going to impact me but I'm also a people person. You see, I can thrive well with the crowd, but I also can just literally just, close up and, I'm cool. I could be, driving solo for like, from Canada to Florida, and I wouldn't even feel pain. Just put some music on. But, it's just how you choose. This is choices in life. But this is, again, you got to love your body. You got to love your person. And by the way, again, if your choice that I don't care what people think, I am who I am, I want to be a nasty person, that's okay. By definition, you're happy. That's what makes you happy. Go ahead. But I understand that you might not connect with a lot of people, and you might wonder like why I'm not connecting with people, and that's probably why. But if that is, again, we're talking about the same theme here, and it goes for both sides. If that's your choice and you're looking in the mirror and you're still comfortable who you are, great. No one's going to take that from you. But seriously, right? I mean, the idea is that whatever you look good in the mirror, you feel good about yourself or your spirit or your personality. It doesn't matter. And by the way, we all kind of drive that idea that we are it. We look at ourselves. I mean, it's just human nature. Everybody is looking at me, myself, and I first, and the rest of the world is irrelevant. But understand that we don't live alone. Even if you choose to actually be closing on around the world, you still got to deal with people. And, at work, you have no choice. I mean, we have policies, in these jobs, right? And you have to be sociable to a degree. You don't have to talk to everybody and smile at everybody, but you still got to go to meetings with people. You still got to be nice, play nice, in the sandbox. All these things, I mean, are going to happen. So if you change a little bit about yourself, that's fine. But if you don't, and you're happy the way you are, be it. I mean, again, we kind of, veered a little bit into like just personality stuff, but really we were talking about just, the body. But really the concept is you're happy, you're happy. You're happy about who you are, what you're looking at. That's good. And you should not allow someone to tell you how to, and by the way, I admire people, that are very comfortable with themselves. I see a lot of people, some very slim, some not, and everybody's happy. And you know what? It's fun. There is no pressure. Like, I'm good the way I look. I don't need to look like him or her. I just look the way I want. And today, this is how I want to look. And that's it. When you get to that point, it's really liberating.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, Rachel, I love what you said. Like, once you got to that level that you transformed and this is who you are and you can care less about the others, you're rich. I mean, you're like beyond everybody. You're beyond I mean, really, you get to, it's like the higher being level, right? It's like, whatever. It doesn't faze me. It's like, just like you're transparent, you're lucid. They go right through you. It doesn't faze you. So Rachel, I know you also do talks.
Yeah.
And I know there's something coming up. Am I getting around right? Like in August, you got something planned? A talk show?
Yeah, I have a workshop I'm doing at the local hospital here. And then in September, I'm doing a book reading at Barnes and Nobles.
That's in your area, obviously.
Yeah, in Greenville, yes.
Right. Now, do you do virtual programs with people?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I've been doing some of my workshops virtually for women's groups, and I'm really enjoying doing that. And I'm just really trying to, I know that the keynote speaking thing and the TED Talks are a little further in my future, and that's okay. They will happen. And I'm just gaining experience being in this world and talking to people, amazing people like you, and doing the podcasts and doing virtual workshops. And it's all just kind of taking me to the next level. And so I'm really excited about it.
Again, listen, you're doing it. And by the way, this is change. This is the new you. And by the way, this is not, you're not doing it just for you now. You're doing it for others. See, that's the other thing. Like a lot of people, when they do something that transforms them, I find it amazing that there's always that need, like you want to share it. Like it's like you have gold that you want to give to the world, right? And you start willingly doing that, and it gives you a different fulfillment. I mean, it's the feeling is different than it's like you're putting something out there. You are making a difference, and that makes a real difference in this world. And I think we need a lot of people, a lot more people, to actually do and make a difference in everybody's lives, because this show may get to a few thousands, maybe 1 million. I don't know. But in time, it will reach a lot of people. And, you do more of these and they're going to teach and they're going to multiply. And how many people out of those will probably get something from this discussion is like, well, you know what? She's right. I don't have to worry. I mean, seriously, you'll get to that when someone's like, I hear her. I don't have to worry about what people think about me. And that could be the differentiator between stress and low self-esteem to being highly confident. And when you're confident, nothing can stop you at work, in person, in family, in relationships. You become really a true, exciting person, as opposed to when you are not so confident because of all these feelings that you might have. And that also your mental status, your mental state, gets impacted so negatively, as opposed to having that positive outcome. So, Rachel, in your experience talking to different women, what are some of the things you can tell them today that can really, just in a nutshell, to really make them feel much better about themselves, period and out?
The two things I love to kind of share on these podcasts is two simple things that you can start literally right now. And the first thing that I ask the women I work with to do is to write down something kind about themselves. It doesn't have to be about their physical body. It can be anything. But I also ask them, don't do it with something that you already believe about yourself. Like if you get the compliment, you have beautiful hair every day for your whole life, you already trust that. You already believe it. So pick something that you know that you are struggling with. For me, it would be like I really am not ready for gray hair yet, but it's happening. I don't have a choice. I'm not ready to go gray, so I color my hair. But if, let's just say I'm ready to transition, I would say I love my gray hair. And I know it's not true, but the act of reading it every day, the act of saying it out loud every day, your brain starts to change. Your brain starts to accept it. And then you accept that about yourself. So I love that little task. And then the other thing I love to do, because women are unfortunately not very nice to each other. So I always say, I want you to take a stranger, a woman, has to be a woman, and give her a compliment. And I want you to do that every day for a week. And that, again, you're putting in a new activity, a new mindset, a new thing that you do, and it becomes something that becomes natural and easy. And it's not going to be comfortable or easy at first, but if you're kind to yourself, you can be kind to other people. And I believe those two things go hand in hand.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. Well, first of all, I think you refer to affirmations, right? You gotta keep saying to yourself, good stuff, so you can get that good vibe about yourself, and then start building your subconscious. Because words actually really, imprint, and they become, the true you. If you say I'm no good, that's all you're going to keep hearing. If you say I'm the greatest, you start believing in yourself. Even though you might not be in the scale of other folks, but it doesn't matter what people think. It's about you. You get to that level. So I love that. And definitely what you said, by the way, I'm not sure if it's correct or not. Again, I mean, when you said about women are tough, but it is to a degree, they can tend to be a lot more difficult than, I guess, guys. We're less, nested to each other, I guess. But we don't feel the competition. I think maybe that's the difference. But you're right. But I've seen that actually happening when women say, "Oh, that's a beautiful dress. Oh, that's you look great. Well, that's a lovely thing, or necklace, whatever it is." You get that. I mean, and like my wife and I, we actually pick those things sometimes. Like, wow, these people really are making a nice statement. And there are people that will look, and would not say anything. So it's very unique how that world works. But you're right. If you were to say that to people, you will make a difference in their life. I mean, some people, again, sometimes some people may have lack of confidence, and they're like, whatever, you're just making fun of me. Because sometimes it could be perceived as such. It has to be also genuine. I think that's the other part. You can tell someone a compliment, but if they're not happy about whatever it is, that may backfire. But but it's the exercise that you're throwing out there. I think that makes a difference. The ability to practice giving good feedback to others, which means now you hear it yourself. I mean, actually, when I tell that to someone, I'm hearing it as well. So it just constantly with me, and I love that, because that's making a difference in somebody, and you can really make somebody's day. I mean, literally, like someone's having a bad day, he's like, "Oh, that's a very nice dress." Well, thank you. Like, about time somebody said something good to me today.
And I think people, they feel seen. And I think that that's really all we want, right? We want to be seen, and we want to be heard, and we want to go through this life together. So I think that by doing that, like you said, you really can brighten up someone's day. And I also believe that if you're giving a genuine compliment, people feel that, they really do.
Yeah. Again, you can't, I mean, people also can read through if it's fake, right? I mean, they can see if it's like sarcastic. I mean, it almost becomes sarcastic if it's not really genuine. And you want them to really like, you meant it. I mean, I love that necklace. Actually, I do love your necklace. So it's a nice necklace. It's beautiful, right? So you tell someone that, they get excited, and it's good. It makes them feel good. It's even about the choice, sometimes you love the color that they wear. All those beautiful colors they have on, you're right. It could be anything, and sometimes it's just like, it could be just, how's your day? I mean, that's not a compliment, but you get them excited about the day. But those are like, I think those are the things that we've lost, as humans, because we're so into the zone that we're really not looking, or like, so caught up, with everything else, and stressed, and just going running. Then we forgot that we can be nice to others and stuff. A good place where I I always, I don't know why, but it gives a big difference in life. Have you ever cruised? I'm assuming you have.
Cruise
Cruising,
like
like a
ship.
cruise ship.
Oh yeah.
All
I'm like
right,
cruising down
cruising.
the highway. Like
No, no, no,
talking
cruise ship.
about.
So you might relate to what I'm going to say here is that on a ship, people are relaxed. And you tend to see more people giving compliments, more people are happier, more people are coexisting with all cultures and beliefs and stuff, and they all make, and it's amazing. It's like one ship with a few thousand of people, and they all get along, and everybody's happy. You don't have a lot of nastiness in there. Everybody's cool. We can. This life is a big ship. If we use the same concept, I think we'll all be happy. Like, how's your day today? We're having fun today. Whatever. Sometimes if you'll be surprised, I think I was listening to somebody, and one thing they said, like, someone, like, how to de-escalate, right? Somebody is having a bad day and they're ready to fight or whatever. And it's like, are you okay? I mean, is everything okay? And you can literally see a change of, like, you go from, like, let's just go at it, or like, like you're interested in really helping, and it changes dynamics, and that's all being human. I mean,
Yeah.
really, it's amazing how we can make a difference in somebody's life on a day-to-day basis, and it changes dynamics. And again, I think you mentioned something about women specifically, and there's emotions, there's hormones, there's different things that can be a lot more challenging, and mood swings. I mean, there's menopause, for example. There's a lot of that happens, and people sometimes need that, or maybe they're having a tough day at work, a tough day at home. They're just not having a bad day, and you come in and really light up the day. It's like, cool. I mean, it's like, like you just made my day. I mean, it's like, like that. Can I get a hug? Same concept,
Yeah.
right? It's really, it feels right, right? And so you can't go wrong when it's right. It's right. When it's positive, it's positive. It's amazing. Like, you cannot deny these things. I mean, they do work. So thank you, Rachel, for really those two elements. I mean, those are like big, big, big elements that anyone watching and listening today, apply them. And by the way, I think it goes to everybody. If you see someone there, do it. Say positive things to people, and that will make you positive. So Rachel, I mean, I know you give us those two. Anything else you want to add to our audiences? I think we're just hit the mark of the hour right now. So what are we closing with?
I always love to throw in, those are two very simple things to do, but I always love to throw in that you're not alone. You never were. Even if you still to this day feel like you're the only one struggling with your feelings, or your body, or loving yourself, you are not alone. But it is your responsibility to ask for help.
Love it. And that's powerful, because you're right. Folks, you're not alone. I mean, you're listening to this now. There's so much so many resources out there, so much you can get the positivity from, and get your energy from, and get the help. But you have to ask, you have to do the work, and I think that's a big problem for a lot of folks, is they don't want to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
People tend to, like, shy away from, like, asking, but
Yeah.
there's no shame in the game. If you need help, ask for help. And sometimes we all need somebody. There's no one that is beyond that. I don't know if there's someone that can literally live their life without asking for help. And whether you like it or not, that's the fact of life. You're not. We're created so other people can help us in life as well. And I think that's just, I see it. I believe in it personally, and I think that's the thing. But if you're not able to see that, then this might change your mind, because if you hear this, and you might think that I'm stuck, call somebody, reach out. I mean, there's plenty. I mean, you help people. There's your book can give. That's the other thing. You don't even have to talk to someone. You can read a book, and by relating to the story, it can change your life immediately, because, like, wow, I'm not on this alone, right? There's other people that have been through it, and when you start seeing that other people have been through a similar, or like going through the same thing, then you don't feel bad anymore. You actually feel better. Like, okay, there's a lighting out there. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and things become brighter for you. It's that simple. So, Rachel, thank you so much. I mean, we've had. I hope we had some fun here, and
Yeah.
really throw in some good stuff at our audiences. Now your site,
Yeah.
people can get the book from there, and also can reach out to you. Correct?
Yeah. So my website is Rachel Lavin Wellness. And my book is available there or on Amazon, which I'm sure it's very easy to get there. My Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn is all also Rachel Lavin Wellness. And please reach out. I love chatting about all this fun stuff. So I'm always happy to have a conversation.
All right. Well, Rachel, thank you so much. And we will have the link on the description of the show so people can link up to you. Hopefully, you get, quite a bit of interactions and, maybe you can help some folks, change their life for better, which is the purpose. So thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, folks, there you have it. We're coming to the end of the show here. I'm your host, Hurricane H. Hopefully you enjoyed today's show. We'll be talking soon. New day, new show, new topic. Bye for now.